Hello my friends, Jeff, Tax Rescue CPA. Today we have the top 10 craziest taxes in U.S. history. Now, we know taxes are a necessary part of society, but sometimes they can get a little wacky. Here are the 10 craziest tax ideas ever in U.S. history. Number 10, the beard tax. While this infamous tax is more closely associated with Russia and Peter the Great, the idea made its way to the U.S. during the Civil War. Now, this was actually never imposed, but legislation was drafted that basically imposed a tax on beards, considering them a luxury item. Well, fortunately for bearded Americans, this legislation and tax was never enacted. Number 9, the candy tax in Illinois. This goes back to 2009 to the present. Now, in Illinois, they separate candy into two groups. You've got flour candy or candy with flour like Twix or Kit Kat, and then you have flourless candy. Think Skittles or M&Ms. Now, the candies with flour are considered a grocery item. But if they don't have flour, they're just considered candy, and they're taxed at a higher rate. Number 8, the cowardice tax. This also goes back to the Civil War. From 1863 to 1865, Congress passed a law that allowed men to get out of the draft for the Civil War to serve militarily by paying a $300 commutation fee. Now, essentially, you had wealthy individuals that could buy their way out of military service. Now, this led to accusations of the government creating a cowardice tax. This did not go over well generally with the public, and it led to rioting, and it was eventually repealed. Number 7, the illegal drug tax. Yeah, really. Many states actually require drug dealers of illegal drugs to pay a tax by buying a special tax stamp. This would be on marijuana, coke, meth, these kinds of drugs. Of course, most drug dealers don't do this, no. But what happens is then when they get caught, the authorities can charge them with additional crimes. Okay, number 7, the flush tax in Maryland. This started in 2004 and it's still in present today. So basically this is created to help clean up the Chesapeake Bay. Maryland implemented a tax on homeowners on their water and sewage usage. So it's commonly referred to as the flush tax, and the revenue is used for sewage treatment plants. But many residents find it kind of odd they're being taxed just for using the bathroom. Number 5, the blueberry tax in Maine. This is started in the year 2000 and it is still in place today. Maine is the top producer of wild blueberries. Yeah. And they impose a tax on every pound of blueberries harvested. It's not a huge tax, but it's unique because it's the only fruit that's treated this way. Number 4, the jock tax. Now this started in California back in 1991 and is still in place today. So professional athletes, they move from state to state and play games in different states. Now they must pay income tax on their earnings in each state that they play in. This became the infamous jock tax back when California targeted Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls after they beat the LA Lakers in the '91 NBA Finals. Boom. Today, most sports teams enforce this tax, making life more complicated for accountants. Okay, number 3, the bagel tax in New York. This is kind of like the candy tax in Illinois, where we've got this fine line here. Well, in New York, if you buy a bagel whole, no taxes. But if you have it sliced and cream cheese added, it's considered a prepared food, and you're paying sales tax. So if you're in New York, want to save a little bit of money, buy your bagel whole. All right, number 2, the tattoo tax. This is in Arkansas and goes back to 2005, still in place today. So Arkansas imposes 6% tax on tattoos, body piercings, and electrolysis. So on the whole, sales taxes are common on goods, but this one specifically taxes body art, and it makes the list of the strangest taxes levies in the country. All right, that brings us to number one. The number one strangest tax in the US is the bribe tax. Believe it or not, if you take a bribe, the IRS expects you to report it as income and pay taxes. This is true for all illegal income. If you rob a bank, you're supposed to report it as taxable income. Now, of course, reporting illegal earnings could get you arrested. So most criminals don't actually do this. I'd say all of them. But the rule became famous when it was used against Al Capone, where he was convicted of tax evasion rather than some of his more heinous crimes. Think Alcatraz, The Rock. All right, so from taxing criminals to deciding which candy and when a bagel is taxable, we have got some pretty strange taxes in the US. I hope you enjoyed this list. Like and subscribe for more of this hard-hitting tax information. Who's doing your taxes?